What's going on, people? It's your boy back with another reaction. Yo, I'll be reacting to 4 true New Year's horror stories. I don't have any real New Year's issues. Like, never had any New Year's problem, like any horror stories. I mean, I've been out with New Year's with friends of mine, and like I had female friends, had people kind of like keep following them or keep trying to be around them when you're like in a club or something like that. But never anything like with me, or no murders and nothing like that. You know, vampires, no werewolves, no ghosts, nothing like that. You know, not that crazy shit. Just the norm. Just getting drunk, rubbing my genitalia on somebody else's genitalia, and then going home, and that's it. And having well, as I got older, I've noticed I get hangovers. When I was young, I didn't used to get hangovers at all, unless I mixed drinks. If I mixed like clear and dark liquor, I would have a hangover. Depends on how much I drank, also of that. But I would get a hangover. But now, as I get older, I notice it don't matter. I get hangovers. Well, not bad as some people like. I could drink a lot, but it'll be like a slight headache, But it'll go away after I've been up for a couple hours. But still, anyway, let's get into 4 true New Year's horror stories. So, all right, here we go. Nightmare Files. Story 1. 23.
When I was 19 years old in 1985 on New Year's Eve, a bunch of my friends and I went to a rooftop bar of a hotel.
I ain't even born yet.
About a half hour before midnight, I ran down to my car because I had forgotten my camera. I figured I would have plenty of time to get back up there and find my friends. I grabbed my camera and I got into an elevator all by myself. About halfway up, the elevator started shaking and it stopped completely.
Oh shit.
I was trapped. I have always had a problem with confined spaces, so this was not an ideal situation for me.
I bet.
After a few minutes, everything went silent that was going on outside. Then out of nowhere, the elevator lights went out, and I started to hear children laughing. But this was not the type of place where children would be. My heart started beating faster.
What is this, devil?
And harder and harder. Then all of a sudden, I passed out. As I woke up, I noticed that I could not move or talk. I thought to myself, not sleep paralysis again. Then the light started to flicker on and off, and then all of a sudden, I see a black figure to the left of me, in the corner of the elevator, crouching down, smiling at me. I tried to scream, but nothing would come out. I tried to move, but I couldn't. A guy came over the loudspeaker and told me there was an electrical short, and that he would have me out soon. There's a camera in the elevator, so to the security guard it looked like I was just laying there. I guess they figured I was drunk, being that it's New Year's. Anyways, every attempt to scream or move, that figure would just start laughing at me and pointing. This whole time the lights are flickering. Then all of a sudden, I can hear the huge crowds counting down for New Year's. 10. The dark figure is staring at me, and now with a menacing smile, with 10 fingers up. 9. He's still looking at me with 9 fingers up, and he's moving closer. 8. He was still looking at me with 8 fingers up, and he's closer. 7. The same thing. 6.
This is pretty good.
The same thing. 5. The same thing.
He just said the same goddamn thing.
And he's much closer. 3.
And then the door's gonna open at 1.
2.
Or 2.
He was closer. Then the lights quit flickering, and it was pitch black. Then all of a sudden, outside, it went silent again. I felt breathing in my right ear. And then out of nowhere, I hear 1. I couldn't breathe. The light started to flicker again, then a figure was on my chest. And all of a sudden, it was gone. And I can talk and move again. Usually when I have sleep paralysis, something bad happens. Once I got out of the elevator an hour later, I found out that there was a brawl during the countdown on the rooftop bar that I was at, and 4 people were killed by some maniac who was waiting until the end of the countdown to start hacking up people with a machete. Ever since then, I have not had a sleep paralysis episode.
Where the hell were you at? A machete.
This whole event happened New Year's Eve when I was 9 years old. My parents went out for the night, and they left me with my 2 older brothers and a couple of my friends. My oldest brother was probably 17 or 18 at the time. My elder brother had to be about 11, almost 12. So altogether, it was my 2 brothers, 2 of my oldest brother's friends, and myself. It was around 11:30 at night. I had been playing in my room, and out of nowhere, I heard a lot of banging and yelling. This freaked me out, and I wasn't sure what to do. So I, of course, left my room to investigate. There were 2 men in my living room yelling and flipping out. I quickly went back up to my room and shut off all the lights and hid under a bunch of toys in my closet. After about 5 minutes of hiding, someone came into my room. I had a sheet over my closet at the time so I could kind of see out of it. It was one of the men. He took a quick look around and he left out. After he left out, he locked my brother inside my parents' room. There was a lot of yelling still coming from the other men in the living room. I couldn't really hear anything that was being said though. After a while, I got up and walked down the hallway a bit to see what was going on. My brother and the man were fighting on the floor. At this point, I took this opportunity to get my other brother out of my parents' room. My brother got to the phone and called the cops. Meanwhile, my brother's friend was fighting with the other man on the floor in the kitchen. About 10 minutes later, the cops showed up. They arrested both of them.
Damn, they fought for 10 minutes.
Now you probably want to know why they broke in. Both of these men were drug dealers. My brother's friend had gotten mixed up in it. He owed them a lot of money and couldn't pay it. They somehow found out that he was at my house that night and decided to come after him. I have no idea why they chose at that time, but they did. Luckily, at that time, no one was hurt badly.
Sound like they drug dealers and drug addicts.
We still made it through the New Year's.
No, he said
It was New Year's Eve.
I love
and
this.
I was driving
like,
a shortcut from 29 Palms,
70s,
California,
80s type
to
music
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
that they got in
29 Palms is located in the desolate high desert east of LA.
it's 70s, 80s type horror
was
music.
a 2-lane road through total nothingness, except for passing through Amboy, California. Amboy is a nearly abandoned town nearly as far below sea level as Death Valley. So I was driving by myself close to midnight, and I proceeded to drive up into the mountain range between Amboy and I-40. Once I reached the top, I am driving north through a canyon with high grass on both sides of the road. Up ahead, I see some stuff in the middle of the road. As I approach, I slow down and I see a red Firebird stop sideways across both lanes. A suitcase open with clothes scattered everywhere.
It's a trap!
And 2 bodies laying face down in the road. A man and a woman. I stop 100 feet or so away, and the hair on the back of my neck is standing up. Being an Army paratrooper, I reach under the seat and I pull out a 9mm pistol and I chamber around. Something seemed very wrong.
This story
And
sounds
it looked too
familiar.
perfect, as if it were staged. Maybe an ambush.
Or maybe it's a similar
Something was just
narration.
wrong. As I scan
But I've
the
heard
road,
this actually happened
I
to
see
people
where I
in
can
real
drive.
life.
I pass the guy in the road on his left, swerve to the right side of the woman, behind the Firebird, and I'd be on the other side. I dropped it into first gear and punched it and drove that line that I planned to drive. I passed the back of the Firebird without hitting it, or either of the bodies on the road. I continued forward a couple hundred feet, and I slowed down so I could breathe, and I let my heart slow down. As I looked up into the rearview mirror, I saw that the two bodies had gotten up to their knees, and 20 or so people emerged from the high grass on either side of the road
This sounds
by the
familiar.
car and the bodies.
20
At that
people.
moment, my right foot smashed the gas pedal to the floor,
Oh, they about to
and I
Wicker
did not
Man
let
your
up until I had to slow down for the I-40 East on-ramp. I would never know what would have happened to me if I had gotten out of the car to check on the bodies
You'd have got
or
fucked
stopped
up.
my car closer to them. Somehow, I do not think it would have been good. And sometimes, real life can be scarier than a movie. And maybe I wouldn't have made it through the New Year's. It was New Year's Eve, and my family and we all went over to my grandfather's mansion. When we got there, it was around 4
My
p.m.
grandfather's
My mom
mansion.
invited her sister over to celebrate with us. As the adults went out to eat, my cousins and brother and we all decided to play hide and seek. My cousin, who was 2 years older than me, was the seeker. He found 4 of us in around 5 minutes, and only one hider was left, my brother. We searched the whole first floor to find him, but he was nowhere. We knew that he had to be upstairs when all 5 of us saw a figure standing near a door. My cousins and I went upstairs to go get him, when we all heard my brother's voice downstairs. My cousin and I looked at each other. Then we looked at the figure. The figure was gone by now. My cousin and I went down to talk to my brother and asked if he was upstairs. He said no. My 2 cousins, who were girls, went down to call the guards while myself, my brother, and my cousin stood guard at the entrance. When the guards came, we told them to go upstairs. When they did, I saw a person wearing a hoodie and shorts pass by the room on the right. My brother, cousins, and I went to go chase him, or her. He was at the 3rd floor.
Go chase
Now we
him.
could hear his footsteps. The 3rd floor had a balcony on top of the entrance to the room. When the 3 of us got to the door, I looked up for some reason, and I saw the man looking down at us. My cousin made a run for it downstairs to call the police. My brother and I blocked the only way out. Once the cops arrived, they checked the entire mansion, including the 3rd floor, and they found nothing. To this day, we had no clue what his intentions were.
That's good that you didn't find out. 'Cause they probably weren't too good.
Nightmare Files.
This, I was about to say, that was good. That was good. I like that. That reminds me of. I completely lost my train of thought. What was I about to say? That was, what was I about to say? Because it reminded me of a friend of mine who told me, well, he wasn't really a friend of mine, he's a friend of a friend. He said something like that he had chased once through a cornfield on New Year's. Because he was from, I know he said from down south, I can't remember exactly where. He said he had chased through a cornfield. They had like kind of like a party. I don't think it was like a rave party, but they had a party in a cornfield. And I was like, he said, you talking about Freddie versus Jason? He's like, no. And he said somebody, he said he think it was the property owner because he assumed that, the person throwing the party owned the property. But he said he think it was a property owner because he could hear like yelling at someone. He said he swore here someone said, get the hell off my property. And heard like gunshots. But that's I always thought that was just hilarious. Like you out there on New Year's in a cornfield on somebody else's property. Like yeah, you look at it and you shoot at your head. Right. Yeah, be careful. I think one thing I worry about is just getting drugged and someone taking me somewhere and raping me. Like, because people think Like that's just a female concern. Like nah, like it's a male concern too. Like you usually because you be, especially if you get drinks and you don't keep an eye on your drink and somebody puts some in it, fuck you up before you know it, you know, face down the gutter somewhere, bleeding from your ass. And you don't know what else happened. Like, that will not be me. Oh, but anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed my reaction. And if you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. Be sure to subscribe. If you're new here, hit the bell. When you want to be notified when I upload new. Wow. If you want to be uploaded when I notify new videos. If you want to be notified when I upload new videos, comment down below, share this video, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.